Hey everyone, I'm Ben. I'm back with another devlog for the Song of the Fae, which is the deck building chess-like game that is currently in development by me and my friend Ricky under the studio name 2PM Studios. So it's been another month since the last monthly update. Crazy that. I'm pretty sure this is devlog 8. Once again, I said I checked the number. I didn't, but there we go. It's been a good month. We've got a lot of stuff done, actually. I'm really excited about some of the changes we got into this patch. Obviously, I'll be going through all of that with you, so I'm not going to spoil it here. But just thought I'd talk a little bit about like life stuff too. So the first bit of news is that I have left slash like my long-term employment is over because the company no longer exists as an independent entity. It got bought out. So I have some time that I want to fill with some game development. So I don't know what level of like commitment I'm putting into this because I've got to try a lot of different things, do some freelance work, etc. to pay the bills, but I'd like to spend more time making games. So hopefully that means more Song of the Fae content. I'd like to do more videos, but I don't know that I want to promise that because how I feel about making videos changes on a daily basis a lot. Um, but I definitely would like to talk more about our thinking and what's happening publicly. Video is still something I'm getting used to. So along with that, I also had some fun weather here recently in Brisbane. We've had some pretty crazy rain, and we also experienced some pretty full-on flooding where I live. So I suppose some footage I can put up around me that shows some of this stuff. But yeah, a lot of water. I got very, very close to our house, but thankfully nothing got ruined in my place. Just my entire suburb, all the cafes and shops and roads and things are kind of messed up. So that's fun, but it is what it is. And then, so along with that background stress of that, and trying to work out what I'm going to do with my life, I decided to make things more distracting by we got a dog. So this is Ziggy. This is my new dog. We've had her for about a month now. She is very cute. She is pretty good. She is sometimes kind of nuts, but that's how it goes. She's a rescue, so we're not sure what happened to her before she got to us, but she was pretty young. She's still pretty young. She's still a little puppy. She's working on it though. And yeah, that's been. I've been getting up at like 5 a.m. every day instead of my normal 9 because of the dog. But she's settling down and my sleep is improving, and hopefully productivity will improve as a result too. It's been a bit of a disrupted week or two lately. There you go, puppy. So yeah, I'll stop boring you with non-game stuff, and we'll talk about game stuff now. So I'll cut over to the footage of me explaining things. Okay, so a small change that I want to show off is there's now previews on unit movement. So let me place some units down and I'll be able to show you what I mean more clearly. It doesn't matter where I put most of these guys just because I'm not really planning to win this fight. And then this one can go over here too. Cool. So this suggestion actually came out of something somebody said on Discord that was basically the like, why can't I see where the units will move without having selected them? So we've done something about that. If you now hover over a unit, like the dog here, you'll see these yellow squares come up that indicate how these units can move, which is a pretty welcome change, in my opinion. I didn't really think of doing this just because it hadn't occurred to me. You can see the archer here. So this archer has a limited range, and you can see which squares it can shoot at. Same thing applies to enemies now, so you can actually see where enemies could move to on their turn. That's really useful, obviously, because it was quite hard to predict before. You had to just memorize it. So just a small one, but I think that's actually a really big improvement in terms of UX. And you can actually see, like, I will need to move the bard to demonstrate this, actually. Let's see what happens first. Yeah, so if I now hover over this guy, you can see not only are these squares near the Lancer yellow, but this square down here underneath this enemy also becomes yellow because that's a possible spot for this guy to move to when he does a charge attack. Voila. So, yeah, small change, but a good one. Okay, so something else that we've been working on recently is the ability to have units actually scale up in terms of their, I guess, I was going to say their goodness, their stats over the course of a run. So, at the moment, units, in the existing build that's out there, units just stay the same strength throughout the run unless they get rewards. The problem we're having is that you'd go to the shop in like the third biome after you've applied all these rewards to your units, and the units in the shop are all like level 0 effectively, and they're not very useful. So what we do now, I'll try and demonstrate this quickly. If I can get some rewards and then do a fight, get these rewards, just give these to any of these guys. Yeah, give that one that trait, get an extra defense point on you. So we've gained 2 rewards in that process. And now, if we get out of here and I go out to a shop, which I can do on the next move. We might be able to tell, based on the units in there, if this is working or not. Okay. So, like, it's not super obvious to someone else, but to me, I can see that this unit probably has had an upgrade applied to it. The way it works is that every upgrade you get, units that are in the shop will have upgrades applied to them as some proportion of that number. So if I've had 5 rewards, the units I find in the shop will have some number between 1 and 5 rewards applied to each of them. The way exactly that works is still sort of up in the air as to what that scaling factor is, because I'm balancing everything, but that's the idea, is that as your units have had more opportunities to become stronger, then equally the units in the shop and that you find as rewards should become stronger in accompaniment. Along with that, we also have been working on scaling enemies up over the course of a run, but that is still very much a work in progress. That's probably like there's some semblance of scaling enemies up in this build, but I'm not going to detail how it works because we're definitely going to change it very soon. So yeah, the game does get harder the longer you play it for, but I also think it's actually easier now overall that because you can upgrade units so much more. Okay, and the big change that I want to talk about in this video is we've redesigned one of the core stats for the units. So I'm going to go into a battle and then I'll talk a bit more about this. Let's pick up a unit, sure. I was hoping for a more interesting unit, but that works fine. So the way that, I'm going to turn the music off. The way that this works now is previously units have always had 3 stats. They've had attack, defense, and it was previously called luck, and it had a symbol of a dice here instead of a star. So we've changed that. How have we changed it exactly? This is a terrible way of setting the board up, just as an aside, but it doesn't really matter. Sure. So it used to be the case that luck really only had one function, and that was to determine the likelihood of a critical hit for a unit, and there were some traits that used luck to determine when they happen, like injured uses luck. But to be honest, that's not a lot of features for a stat that's like on the unit card and is a high top level thing. And some people had asked us about, what is the purpose of luck? And we just sort of had to admit it doesn't have one, and we were sort of being like, the rest of the owl will go here when we finish, designing the game. So I've been thinking a lot about like what would be a good replacement. Ricky and I bounced back and forth with a bunch of options, and we landed on this idea of like, this is another design problem we've wanted to address for ages, is like, how do you determine how good a unit is at like being what that unit is? It's a very poor way of articulating it, but every unit has their own special ability. How do you determine the intensity or effect of that ability? So before, it was a fixed size thing where lancers could charge at enemies and they would do double their attack value of damage if they could charge successfully. And dogs would bark at enemies and they would debuff enemies by 2 and they would buff allies by 2. But in the new system, we have replaced luck with something called skill. And skill basically determines this functionality I'm talking about now. So for the Lancer, the star here indicates the skill, and the skill is 9. So that means this Lancer can do 9 damage when it charges, as opposed to 4 damage from a regular attack. For the dog, this dog has 2 skill. This dog will do a buff of 2 to these friendly units and a debuff of 2 to this unit. And this applies to all of the units now who have special abilities. We'll look at a few other units and see how they work, but let me demonstrate that the dog does indeed do what I just said and that this guy does indeed do what I just said. So we'll move this unit here, maybe. The dog will bark that away. That debuffed you by 1. This is the... well, we redesigned this screen, so I guess it's good for you to see it as well. Let's get rid of this unit. That screen comes up. If you haven't seen it before, that screen appears because the bard was going to die from an action. And if the bard's going to die, you get an opportunity to swap the bard with another unit on the board and have them take the hit for you. So that only happens if you still have units, obviously. But that's that you're like, you nearly lost it there. So we did see the dog bark. It was a bit muddled up in there, but have a look at this. Okay, so 9 skill. This unit has 1 defense. We can definitely charge and kill it. Double kill. Nice. Yep. And then, yeah, this is... we should be able to do this too. So the dog buffed this unit up by 2. We can see that. Plus 2 attack. Good. Don't attack my dog. I don't approve of that. Which way are you going to go? Yeah, so we can then do that, and then do this, and then find that we still do not have enough damage to defeat this enemy, because that's not... well, actually, we do. We can do it, because this guy's going to get lonely the longer this room runs for, so that's okay. If you'd come back, though, it would be much appreciated. Can you just come back? Oh, you want to go the long way around to fight the dog? Okay. This'll do it. Slight run around on that, but yeah. So, let me see if I can get some other units that will demonstrate this new stuff better. So, okay, we've got some more interesting units here, and I'll explain what the skill does for each of these two. So we already saw the dog, the merc, and the lancer, and we talked about what they did. We also have the rogue here. So actually, I might not have mentioned what the rogue did. So the merc did, but I can talk about it in the context of the rogue because they're like inverses of each other. So the rogue skill determines the likelihood of a critical hit, like a backstab. So the more skill, the more likely you are to hit for double your attack. On the merc side, if you get a critical defend, if you have a high enough skill and you get lucky. So luck sort of continues for these two units in a concept, but it's a subset of skill where mercs can dodge out of the way and rogues can stab someone in a moment of opportunity is the idea. So the way that works, I mean, I won't even bother disclosing the algorithm. You just want more skill and it makes it more likely. The monk works a lot like the dog already does, where when the monk swaps places with a unit, it gives a debuff to an enemy or a buff to an ally for defense, and equally, if a monk is next to an ally, it gives them a buff for defense as well. So the skill determines the strength of both of those buffs and debuffs, basically. When it stands next to an enemy or an ally, the debuff or buff it gives is exactly its skill, and when it swaps places with them, the unit that swaps places either gets 2 times skill buff or 2 times skill debuff. And then finally, the archer is actually the easiest one to just like very logically think about the skill for. It's the range. So this archer can shoot an arrow for 3 damage at a range of 4 tiles. So you can see is the options on its movement here. So I'm just going to shoot an arrow at one of these things. Let's do the maths here. You have 5, you have 4, this has 6, so you're going to die because these 2 units will attack both of those. The rogue will also attack both of these units. The rogue cannot kill either of these units because of 8 and 7. With 3 damage, we can push that up to an 8 on this unit, but we can't kill all of these in one go. I think this is the best move. And then this unit is sort of defenseless now and just wants to... When I say defenseless, apparently I mean able to kill my monk easily. We now want to do the same sort of thing where we just want to be able to get an attack on this and then shoot it with an arrow. So I don't know how it's actually going to work. We'll see where this guy goes. That's perfect. See, because the rogue can still attack this unit and I can shoot it with an arrow. I misclicked! It's fine. He can kill my archer. No, he can't anymore. Alright, well, this unit is becoming problematic, but it's fine. We'll get there. One day, I will deal sufficient damage to destroy this unit, but it is not this day. There we go. Alright, so yeah, that's, basically that's been a big change to take luck and turn it into skill, and this was our initial design pass on how to do it, so we kind of just went for it after we thought of the idea, and to be honest, I think it's great so far. I really, really like it. The only thing we want to work on is that there's some numerical disparity between how skill works between the different classes, right? Where, especially in the context of skill upgrade items, rewards can give you additional skill, and additional skill for a lancer is 1 more damage, which is valuable, but then for the archer, it's 1 more range, which is way more valuable. So there's just a bit of like disproportionate usefulness to that. I don't know if that's a problem yet. It might be a good thing. We're kind of just like keeping an eye on that to see how it affects the way we play. I did some really good runs on stream the other day that were really fun. Like, it took me 20-30 minutes to beat the whole game. And it was maybe a little bit on the easy side, but I had really different builds coming up, focusing on elements, on traits, on skill, on different classes, and that's what we've basically been hoping to push towards, especially with these latest changes in the luck skill refactor, is making it interesting to play the game in many ways. Because I think that it's very, for a while now, it was very obvious how you should play the game based on the units you were getting, and we're trying to make it that there's a wider variety of approaches that are all viable. So that's, I guess, still early days on that whole initiative in terms of that overall macro game goal, but I'm very, very happy with how things are progressing with this latest refactor. So yeah, I'm super excited to get this build into everyone's hands and just see what everyone thinks about it. I think we'll call it there for this update. So it's been like, to be honest, it's been a pretty productive month, and we've got quite a bit of good stuff in, even though it feels super disrupted from my end personally. There's just been like so many other things going on in my life. But the game's doing well, and I'm excited to keep pushing on it. We've got a lot of stuff planned. We did a big design session the other day, and I mean, while it makes me very, very aware of exactly how much we have left to do, at the same time, it's cool that we have, like, I don't know, I think the game's actually becoming quite fun to play, which, big surprise, I guess. As a developer, there's always just a lot of fear around being like, is this thing even good? And if I'm having fun playing it, it doesn't mean that it's good, but at the same time, it probably means that it's not awful. So that's a nice indicator. I'd be really keen to hear what everyone else thinks. So if you have any opinions after you check out the new build, please let me know on Discord, on Twitter, on wherever, on the comments on this YouTube video, even if you'd like. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. Peace out.